I was just thinking how cute he was. I wanted to fix him up with one of my daughters, and then he had to confess he was married, huh? Bummer. Bummer. This next comedian is from Fort Wayne, Indiana. He's a contributing writer to Jay Leno. He's appeared at clubs throughout the Midwest. Give it up for Jeff Crawford. Let him hear it. Jeff Crawford.
Can you guys see me okay? If this is in the way, I can move it. Man, I'm not feeling myself tonight. Saturday, I went riding bike with my 9-year-old son, and I got one of those little 10-speed seats stuck in the crack on my butt. They are going to remove it, though, next Tuesday, so that's... I want to know who in their right mind designed that boy's bike. You think they're there in the design room going, well, look, Joe, we don't put that bar across there. They hit a bump, fly off the seat. What's going to drive their testicles up into their throat? No, 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 no. Don't put one on the girl's bike. They have no testicles. I don't usually do this, but I don't want you to think this is a common practice. I don't like to schmooze up to the audiences, but before I came up, I was looking in the comedy dictionary, looked up good audience, had your picture. I know, it brings that old saying my dad used to tell me. Do you know the difference between a brown noser and a shithead? Depth perception. Before I do go any farther, I do want to let you know I am this big. No, I've seen some people adjust their glasses going, holy shit, he can't be that big. But I am. I'm not this big at home, though, because all my mirrors have objects are closer than they appear down at the bottom. And I got to tell you, it's a medical problem. I just want to share with you. I've been diagnosed as anorexic dyslexic. For you laymen out there, what that means, if I look in the mirror, I just don't think I'm fat enough. So, and I bought that Richard Simmons Deal Meal program, dealt myself a full house, gained 4 pounds. I'll tell you this, though, there's some advantages and there's some disadvantages of being this big. And the advantage, my wife and I were landscaping in front of our house, and she wanted one of these plywood cutouts of the fat lady bending over. We were running a little short on cash. So I put on these red polka-dotted shorts. For 2 days, I stood in front of my house like this. Not as bad as you think, though, because remember, I do have a bicycle seat to set on, so that's kind of... But I'll tell you the disadvantage. For 15 years, I thought I was a love machine. My wife and I'd make love, she'd moan and groan and say, get off, get off. I loved when she talked dirty to me. One night, though, in the throes of passion, I was listening to everything she said, and she said, get off, you're squashing me. So we got divorced, and but I got a dog to replace her. I got one of these little Chinese fighting dogs, the Shar-Peis, the ones with wrinkles. We do everything together. The other night we were laying in the hot tub having a couple of Milwaukees. I said, you know, Otto, it just doesn't get any better than this. He says, yeah, but you know, Jeff, we need us a couple bitches. I said, Otto, watch your mouth. And he says, you're forgetting, Jeff, I'm a dog. They're all bitches to me, so. And he's the smartest dog in the world. You be the judge. I'll say, Otto, set, and he sets. I'll say, Otto, stay, and he stays. I'll say, Otto, heel, and he goes, I command ye all foul spirits, come out. And this took me about 4 months. I'll say, Otto, play dead. And he goes, truck in. All my chips are cashed in. Truck in. I'll tell you what, though, I don't want to brag. I think you can tell I'm not that kind of guy, but my reputation out there in the dating world's preceded me. We were at this dance club the other night. I asked this real good-looking girl to dance. She said, well, not right now. And as I was turning to walk away, I heard her lean over to her friend and go, what a dick. Seriously, ma'am, you don't think these pants are too tight, do you? Okay, because I don't want to look sleazy. Do you guys watch television at all? I've got 3 commercials I got to touch upon. The first one is the Gravity cologne. Have you seen this, where the hard-bodied men and women are caressing each other, going, gravity? Now, I'm no advertising executive, mind you, but don't you think that commercial would work just a little bit better with like an 83-year-old grandma with boobies to her knees? Gravity. And what about that Mycotin athlete's foot medicine? Have you seen that commercial where they say, if your athlete's foot doesn't go away, perhaps you have a secondary yeast infection? So I went to the gynecologist. She told me I didn't need to see her anymore because gyne-lotrimin is now available across the counter. And those guys at gyne-lotrimin think of everything. They put a little nozzle on the end of the tube to fit between your toes. And what about that Mounds Almond Joy commercial? Have you seen this, where the girl's dressed half and half? This half she's a bride, and this half she's a groom. And as a bride, she's going, Almond Joy has nuts. She flips around as a groom and goes, Mounds don't. Is it just me, or is that commercial backwards? Because I think the bride ought to have the Mounds, and the groom ought to have the nuts. I started thinking maybe a little bit too deep into that commercial, and I said, you know, this must be one of them subliminal commercials you're always hearing about. They're telling you that after you get married, your wife has your nuts. Oh, I just want to talk to the dads real quick. If there's any dads here, when your wives were pregnant, they got closer to the due date, did your friends tell you not to make love because your kids would be afraid of snakes? Because my friends told me, I didn't listen to them. So for like 5 years, I sheltered them. Last summer, we're at the zoo. They had the biggest boa constrictor you ever seen out for the kids to pet. Before I seen it, it was too late. They ran up and petted it. 2 weeks later, I took them fishing. They wouldn't put those little red worms on the hook. Boa constrictors, little red worms. Thank you. Thank you very much. I went to the doctor Monday, had a little cold, and I got to tell you, I got the living shit slapped out of me. Sitting there in the waiting room, this lady was sitting next to me, thought I'd strike up a conversation. I said, so what are you here for? And she said, well, it's personal. I said, no, you can tell me. She said, well, okay, I have genital warts. And I said, well, I always thought you just had to kiss the toad to find a prince. So I finally got into the doctor. He got my nose stopped bleeding. Seemed it was time for my annual prostate exam. I don't mind those, they have to be done, but I'll tell you this. When he told me to get on the table in doggy style position, while he got out his instrument. Quite honestly, I didn't know his instrument was a banjo. And he started playing na 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 na. He looked up there and goes, what the hell's that bicycle seat doing in there? I don't care how many times you do this, you get nervous, and I'm no different than anybody else. Tonight I was out, went for a walk, and out here in Bardstown Road, this red Lamborghini went flying by. All 4 wheels locked up, skidded to a stop, backed up, rolled down their window. The most beautiful looking babe you ever seen said, pardon me, are those Tuba Boy jeans you have on? I said, why, yes, they are. Thank you. I hope maybe my comedy's touched you, maybe a fraction of what your laughter's touched me. I'm Jeff Crawford from Fort Wayne. Thanks for having me.
Jeff Crawford, let him hear it. Jeff Crawford. This friend.